Hi, in this video I'm gonna be showing you the principles of translucent spikes as seen in Andrew Kramer's post at videocopilot.net. Looks like this. It's actually made in V-Ray, but I'm gonna be showing you how to do this in Mental Ray. It's not gonna look exactly the same because my lighting and rendering techniques are not the same, but if you experiment you might get something really close to this. Here are some of my tries. Sorry for the blue stuff here, I forgot to change the material, but it looks pretty cool, I guess. I'm back to 3ds Max. Some of my test renders, soft shadowing, unfinished render, looks pretty good. This is a fail. Sucks, but looks like wax or something. Okay, so, and I don't know if you can see this, but the reflections are blurry, just like here, and in this example the reflections get blurrier with distance, and then we're gonna mimic that here. So I got my basic scene here. If you don't know how to create these spikes, you can just follow one of my tutorials there. 3D spike tutorial. It explains briefly how to create the scene, so we're gonna be working with that. I'm not gonna explain the setup very roughly, but what I have here is Mental Ray Area Omni, which has shadows on, area shadows, a multiplier of 1.5 roughly, no decay, but you could turn the decay on for maximum quality. I use attenuation because decay renders longer but produces better results. So here's the decay. What decay does, it basically stops the light rays after a certain distance. Okay, so specular, diffuse, contrast 10, soft and diffuse edge 2, area shadows 3 and 4. The quality is pretty medium, but for test renders that will be okay. And area light parameters, sphere with the radius of 87 and 12 by 12 samples. Well, that's just my setup for this test scene, and it worked pretty good. Okay, now to materials. The first material is the ground material, which I'm going to create. We'll take a simple material, and what I'm gonna do is change the color to something greenish, maybe darker, a lighter darker, I mean sand color, something like that. I'm gonna turn the speculars all the way up. No, for the ground, no speculars, because they give you nasty white spots from the light. For the ground, no specularity. Okay, now the reflection part is very important. If you took a map which is called ray trace, you would get sharp reflections, sharp with no blur, with no nothing. You can of course play with fall off, decay, and have like pretty interesting results, and it will render a lot faster. But for blurry shadows, I mean reflections, we're going to use where is it? Okay, I forgot. Oh yeah, metal loom. That's gonna be our reflection map. As you can see, it reflects, but everything is the most important setting here is spread, which spreads out the reflections as it goes on with the distance, so we're gonna use about 3, which is plenty, and for the sake of rendering time 7 samples will be okay. And reflection, down you go, maybe to 50% or so, and that's pretty much it. So we're done with the ground. I guess that's what I did here. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Now the tricky part. We're going to create, not use, a composite blend material. Discard all material. The first material will be our top material for the self-illuminated stuff. Now you can either use standard materials or architectural. Architectural materials look better. That's how you set them up. Choose a color, desaturate, whatever, and give them a shyness of, let's say, 70. And then what you do is give them luminance, candles per square meter. That's usually 500 or 600 is enough. So that's it. We're done with the material, and material number 2 will be the inner material. So we're going to use a something a little darker, perhaps less saturated. Okay, with maps, reflection, fall off, Fresnel, black side, front side, ray trace, and attenuation, linear. 75 will be okay. Okay, like 50, no, 23% reflective, and you want this to go all the way up and almost all the way up here, so we get nice sharp speculars here. Poof, poof, poof. Now how do we blend them? Well, we use a mask, which is going to be a gradient, top to bottom. We're not going to change any settings here, we're going to use a curve, which will basically define how much of the material we want to go in and out and stuff. Okay, maybe a little more glow. Okay, put them on a particle system and put this material here on the sphere, and that's pretty much it. We're ready to render. Now my render settings will be pretty low. Draft, default, medium, whatever, 3 reflections, and so